Hello everyone, and welcome to the final tutorial for the horse mounting system. In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at how to set up the animations for getting in or out and getting on and off the vehicle or horse. Now, this was a torturous amount of work to figure out because there's a lot of things that you don't always consider when building out a mounting system. And the main thing that you want to avoid is using root motion. The reason is, when you add root motion to the equation of movement plus an actor attached to another actor plus lag, you get this weird offset from whatever actor that your pawn is attached to based off of how bad your lag is. So you'll be floating off to the left, to the back, to the right, depending on how many milliseconds are between the time you got on the horse or off the horse. Now, there's a lot you can do to try and mitigate this, but what I have found is most of this doesn't work. So one thing I tried was constantly updating the position of the character on the mount or in the vehicle on tick, and number one, that's just not an ideal thing to do, and number two, it still didn't work. So with that in mind, let's take a look at how to set up our animations for getting on and off of or in and out of our vehicles or horse or mount, whatever it is that you're using this plugin for. Okay, so let's set up our animations first. So let's go to wherever our mounting animations are. For me, it's under the mannequin and animations. And as you can see, I have a dismount left and a mount left. I also have a dismount right and a mount right, but those animations aren't finished yet. So we're just going to focus on dismount left and mount left, and maybe when this is finished, I'll update the dismount right and mount right. So let's first open up the mount left. As you can see, the character starts low, throws his leg over, and now he's mounted on the horse. The main thing we need to do here is find the spot where we're going to tell the system that we are finished mounting, and that is right around here. I like to keep things aligned with the lines a little bit. Right here. Right click, add notify. And this is mounting, so our notify is mounting finished. Save. Now let's go back here, and we're going to go to our dismount, and we're going to do very much the same thing. We're going to find the spot where we're pretty confident that we are completely dismounted. Looks like right here. You right click on the notifications track, go to add notify, and like before, I have pre-built the mounting and dismounting animations, so you can just add them right there. So long as your character implements the mounting interfaces, this should work perfectly fine. So now it gets that signal when it crosses right here, we are done mounting. Okay, so now let's actually set up our character to perform the mounting and dismounting animations, as well as a very ad hoc move to function that'll simulate what it's like to actually move the character into position to start mounting. This is very much kind of like the GTA style where you walk up to the car, press the interact button, and it flips to the car view, and your character walks towards the car, opens the door, and gets in. So we're going to kind of recreate that here. So what we need to do is we need to go to our blueprints where we built our character, open up the mounting character, which I have already open. And then we need to go to our interfaces, mounting interfaces, and then the iMount Writer interface. We'll just close this right there. Play mounting animation. So we're going to right click here and say play montage. And we're going to connect these lines. So, and then we're going to select. We're always going to mount to the left on this. So I'm going to select my dismount left animation here. The other thing you can do is if you have a left and a right like horses usually do, But because I only have a decent looking left animation, you can pull this out, and this position is calculated based on where you're at. And it's built into the components already. You have full access to it. So you can do switch. And as you can see, you can select from any one of these, any side, right side, left side, front, back, and even top and bottom. So you can use branches, you can use a switch, if you're in space and getting into your spaceship, top and bottom are useful. All of that is really just how you want to build it. So dismount left, and we're going to tell the system by checking this box that we have an animontage to play. And there we go. So now we're telling the mounting system, don't shortcut to the finish getting on function. We're gonna play this montage, and this montage, by calling that notify that we just set up, is going to finish the mounting process. So then we go to dismounting animation. We're going to do the same thing. And just like before, the position enum is already there for you. And then you can do a switch or an if or a branch on that, however you want to do it. So play montage. Connect. We're going to select dismount left. And then we're going to tell the system we have an animation to play, so don't short circuit. Compile, save. Okay, so real quick, let's make one correction, because I'm sure you have noticed on the play mounting animation function we just set up, I selected dismount. And I realized this as I was talking, so we're going to change this to mount left. Alright, so now that that's fixed, let's go on to actually moving our character into position. Okay, so quick disclaimer here. The method I'm going to be moving our character into position so that he can start mounting is not really the ideal way. It is a way to do it, but it has a few technical issues with it. I'm sure there's a much better way, but for the purposes of demonstrating, how to kind of do this, or how the system can be used to do this, I chose a very quick and easy way to do it. I didn't want to set up any kind of weird AI or other functions that'll make the character move. This is a built-in functionality within Unreal Engine that required zero programming for me to do. So I'm going to apologize real quick on that. So now let's set this up and let's do this. So let's go to the event graph, and we're going to create a new event. Add event, add custom event. And we're going to call this perform move to location. All right. So with perform move to location as our event, we're going to right click, and we're going to use a node called move component to. And I'm going to drag this off here. And then we're going to take the target relative location and make that a parameter. And we're going to do target relative rotation. Also make that a parameter. Now we're going to grab move to mounting location completed, this function right here. On move to mounting location completed. And we're going to drag the completed node out to that. Okay, so now compile and save that. And we're going to change this to a 2-second timescale. And this is one of the reasons why this is not ideal. Because one, it doesn't, you can create a calculation of between where I'm at and where my mounting position is, and calculate how much time your character needs to move there. But I'm not going to do that. The other thing is it doesn't really register to the movement component of the character that the character is moving, which makes it look like your character just kind of sliding into position. But again, for demonstration purposes, the before move location, this works as a quick demo to explain kind of how to do that in a very easy way. So to finish this up, we need to grab the capsule component, pull that out, and we're going to feed it into that component, that variable right there. So this is going to move the capsule, which is our character's root component, and it's going to move it to this location and put it in this orientation. So where do these functions come from, you may ask? Well, to do that, we're going to go to a function called move to mounting location. Ta-da! As you can see, this function supplies the desired location and orientation. And all we have to do is grab our perform move to location function and feed it in the location and the orientation. And then we tell the mounting system that we are handling moving to this specific location. If you do not check these boxes, the system has defaults that it falls back on. So in this case, it will teleport the character to the desired location and orientation. All right, so now let's take a look at how that overall looks. Okay, so back at the main map level, I'm going to do this under a network environment. So I have run dedicated server on with one player, just to show that this does work on dedicated servers and multiplayer systems. So I'm going to launch it. There's my character. You can see my trace beam going out into the world, trying to find a horse or something to mount. And get a little bit further away to show you kind of the effect of the move to functionality. You're going to see it is a little bit wonky, but there are ways to kind of fine tune that so that it doesn't look so weird. And so to do that, let's just click and you see he gets on there. And then he goes into the mounting animation and now he's sitting. And then I can walk around. I'm on the horse. My horse has no animation, so it's just kind of like a hover horse bike monster thing, robot thing. And then when I click to get off, he just slides right off and pops into the position that he's supposed to be on the dismount. So you can see we can actually later on change just how high the dismount position is. The moment I move, I fall back down. But there's a lot of things you can kind of fine tune to this. And ultimately, it all comes down to the quality of your animations and how well you set up the mounting points and, how realistic or how fine-tuned you want this to be. But for the most part, it is completely functional and working. And even in an environment where there is lag, will not let you down.